In today's video, I'm going to be showing you what we do with all the porta potty waste that we suck up at the end of the day. So during a typical day en route, each one of our trucks services between 30 and 50 restrooms. And at the end of the route, we need somewhere to dump all that waste so then we can do another route the next day. Each toilet has at least 5 gallons of waste in each one. And then as we're doing the route, the tank is going to continue to get full and we need somewhere to dump that waste. If our tank gets too full, we're not going to be able to continue to service restrooms. And here on the side of the tank, you can see that there's these sight glasses. You can tell how full our tank is. So there, it's all the way full, halfway, and then if you can see here, this glass. We need to get this emptied or else tomorrow when we're out on route, this truck might fill up all the way and we might not be able to finish all the services that we have. So before I show you what happens to the waste in this tank, let's back up a little bit and talk about logistics. You're gonna be generating a lot of waste every day with your routes. Because of this, you're gonna want to find a dump location as close to your yard as possible. There are a lot of wastewater treatment plants around my yard, but unfortunately, the closest one that takes portable toilet waste is about 25 miles away. There's actually one right around the corner from my yard, like 2 blocks away, but it doesn't take portable toilet waste. When you do find a treatment plant that takes our kind of waste, you wanna figure out how much they're charging you per gallon, because it can really vary from plant to plant. So depending on the price, it might make sense for you to drive a little bit further if you're paying less per gallon. You kind of just have to do the math on that yourself. Just make sure to take into consideration your drive time, your gas, when you're making that comparison. And I also highly recommend getting permitted to dump at more than one dump station. If you're only permitted at one and for some reason there's a shutdown or you lose your permit, your business is gonna come to a complete halt. Because without being able to empty, you're not gonna be able to service your customers. And that could lead to complaints, which is the worst case scenario. Make sure to always have a plan B. And like I said, ideally, every truck is gonna get emptied every day. This ensures that you have enough space in your truck to do your routes, and it's also putting less strain on your trucks because there's not as much weight. When you don't empty, the truck is starting the day heavier and they're gonna carry that with them the entire route. And here's where your headache comes in. Your guys have already worked 8 full hours en route, cleaning toilets, and now when they get back to the yard, they have to empty their truck, and they're gonna be on overtime. There's way more traffic at the end of the day, and also sometimes there's lines at the dump plant, because everybody else is waiting to empty too. And also, they have restrictive hours, so you might not even get there before it closes. I have some guys that finish their routes in San Jose at 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon, and from there to our dump plant, it can take an hour and a half or more. And that doesn't even consider the traffic getting back from the dump plant to our yard. And not to mention the traffic that they have to sit in to get back to the yard once they're done dumping. Plus all of the mileage that they're putting on your truck with a full tank. Now imagine that problem, but multiply it by 10 trucks or more. All of that overtime is gonna eat into your bottom line and you're gonna have to raise your prices to keep up. You're gonna have a mess on your hands unless you find out a better solution. But luckily, I have one for you. Now the best solution to this problem is to invest into a tanker that can hold 5,000 gallons or more of waste so that you can fill this truck up every day and empty all of your smaller trucks. And then when the big truck gets full, you take that truck to the dump instead of taking every little one every single day. You're gonna save a lot of time, money, and wear and tear on your trucks. The thing is, it's a big investment to get a tanker like this. And it also doesn't make sense if you only have 1 or 2 trucks in your fleet. It starts to make sense once you have more like 4 or 5, and then you really should start thinking about getting one of these. Another solution that I've seen people do is buy a big frac tank and put that in their yard, and then have somebody else come pump that out and take it to the dump plant for you. So that's also a good option. It just depends on how much they're gonna charge you and how much money you're gonna save in the end. But let's take a look at this tanker. So it has the same sight glasses that all of the smaller trucks do, and you always want to check to make sure that it's not overflowing before you empty. Otherwise, you're gonna have a poop shower. It's gonna spray out of here like a beluga whale out of one of these manhole covers. And now for the exciting part, I'm gonna show you guys how we empty our pump trucks into our big tanker right here. Let's get started. First of all, I want to put some gloves on. We're gonna get our tray right here to catch any spillage. Just because of the size of these tanks, there's always gonna be a little bit of leakage when you open the caps. It's just always gonna happen. And you always wanna be sure you're aware of where the waste is coming from. right? So this tank is full, right? So waste can come out of here, and then this tank is also full, so waste can come out of our big tanker. So first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off the cap for our small tank. See here, I've got a little bit of spilling, but not too much. And then we're gonna connect the hose from our big tanker, right here. I'm gonna bring it up. You want it to be a tight seal so there's no leaking in between. So when we're gonna be doing this, the most important thing is to do it in the right order, because if you do it in the wrong order, it's possible that waste will shoot back at you and you'll get a nasty bath that nobody wants. So we're gonna open the valve on the truck we wanna empty, and then we're gonna turn on the pump in reverse. We're gonna open the valve on the big truck, let it all empty, close the valve on the big truck, close the valve on the small truck, and we're done. So ready, we're gonna open this valve, and you can hear it start to flow out a little bit. We're gonna put the pump in reverse and start to empty the tank. So here's our pump. Out is gonna be for suction or vacuum, and then if you're in like this is gonna be reverse, or it's gonna be pressure. It's gonna be blowing it out. So another thing you wanna make sure of is that your valves for your bazookas are closed, because if not, it's possible that you'll get some backsplash of stuff spraying out of these. So make sure that those are closed, and then we're gonna go ahead and start the engine and start the pump. So now we got the pump running and pressure is building inside the tank. So we're gonna open the valve and it's gonna start to dump. Okay, come with me. Okay, so we'll see if we can see it in real time. So if you see that, it's literally emptying right now. And it's going through the hose, being emptied into the big tanker. So you can tell, I try and get a transparent hose so you can kind of see when the flow is coming through. And you can also feel it, right? It's gonna be heavy. Once it's below the last sight glass, you can't tell how much is left in the tank. So you just gotta kind of watch the hose and feel it. And then when it's almost empty, what we're gonna do is close it, build a little bit more pressure, and then open it again, and it's gonna help empty everything that's left in that tank. So you don't wanna keep this valve closed for too long, because the pressure will keep building inside of the hose and it could explode. So you wanna make sure you're timing everything correctly. Let's make sure one more time. Now that the tank is empty, you want to close this valve first, because if you close that one first, it's gonna lose the pressure and everything's gonna spray back out that you just pumped up. Ready? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna close this. We're gonna turn off the pump. And then you're gonna have some built up pressure in your tank, right? So if you release this halfway, your pressure, we had about 5 pounds of pressure inside the tank. It's all gonna exit right here and then bring us back down to normal. You wanna make sure to release this pressure, because otherwise, when you take the hose off of the dump valve, it's possible it could spray back at you. So we got our pressure released, we're all good there. And now we're gonna disconnect this hose. It's always a chance that you're gonna get some to spill back at you. Always release with caution, and then let the pressure, anything that's built up, escape before you try and mess with it, because you don't want anything exploding in your face. Right here, I'm gonna hang this up. And always just be aware of where the end of the hose is pointing, right? If you point it down, anything that's still inside, right, is gonna exit and come back at you. So if you look here, right, no matter what, you're always gonna have a little bit of leftover. That's just the way that it is. So that's why we have this tray to catch it. We're gonna get a little bit of bleach, just do some spill control, put it in there. And then this tray is keeping the bed of the truck clean while we empty it. So I'm turning on the fresh water pump that we've got on the truck. And then we can go ahead and clean it out. Like that. And then at the end of the day, when all of our trucks are emptied, we can pump out the tray and we're all good. So we're gonna go ahead and put the dust cap on right here. Spray down the bed a little bit. And there we go. This truck is empty. and ready to go out on route tomorrow. All we need to do is fill it with water, fill it with paper, and it's good to go. So as you can tell right now, the tank is a little bit more than half full because that bubble in the middle is filled. We still got a decent amount of trucks to empty for the day. You can tell this one right here got the sight glass full. If the first glass isn't full, you can still hit it and you can kind of hear if there's anything in it or not. It'll sound a lot more hollow if there's nothing in it. So even if it's only up to here, right, we still want to empty it just in case. And we do this to all of our trucks at the end of each day. So we got to get the rest of these emptied. We're going to fill up the rest of that tank and then we're going to take it to dump. So now that we have all of our trucks emptied into the tanker, it's full and we need to take it to the dump plant. So what we're gonna do is disconnect the hose we were using to empty and then we're gonna get going. It's not too bad, just a little bit of drip. Gonna put the dust cap back on. Make sure it's closed nice and tight. I have this rubber mallet just in case. Make sure it's closed tight. Move the hose, and you always want to make sure that both sides of the dump hose are facing up, because if you drag it, it's going to empty and pour out everywhere, and that's no fun to clean up. So you got a little bit of spillage in the tray. A little bit of bleach will clear that right up. All right, now let's go. So it took us 40 minutes to get here. That's not too bad. So in order to enter the dump plant, each driver has to go through an orientation and we have to get every truck that we dump at the location permitted. Every time we come, we have to show our driver's license and then they give us a code to enter and then we're able to dump. So we're gonna go ahead and back up into this spot to dump and get started. Okay, so now we're backed up to the dump station. This station in particular, we're just gonna use gravity in order to empty the truck. This is the dump station right here, and then we're gonna connect this hose to our truck. They didn't empty the hose all the way, so we made a little bit of mess right there. So I tilted the hose down a little bit when I picked it up, and all that came spilling out. So I gotta be careful, keep it pointed up always. So we're gonna take off the dust cap. Like I said, with the movement on the drive here, right, it starts to spill out a little bit. So we're just gonna open it, connect our other hose right here, like that. Now that it's connected, we're ready to empty. So just gonna open the valve. And then it's gonna start to empty just with gravity. And if you feel it, it's super heavy because it's full of waste. A full truck like this, it's probably gonna take 15 to 20 minutes. Right now it's 350. We're gonna see how long it takes to empty it all the way. And something to note about this wastewater treatment plant is they charge us for a full tank, whether or not our tank is full. So the capacity, like I said, of this tanker is 5,900 gallons. So no matter what, they're gonna charge us 5,900 gallons, even if it's only halfway full. And for that reason, we always try to bring the tank when it's as full as possible so we get our money's worth every time we come to dump. And with this one load, we can fit almost 10 full trucks rather than making 10 separate trips. So it really will help our efficiency. And then with this water, they're just gonna filter it and make non-potable water for irrigation, watering plants, stuff like that. It's pretty cool what they do with our wastewater. And now it's just a waiting game until it's empty. It's taking a little bit longer than usual because we had a clog. So we're gonna pull the truck forward a little bit and hopefully that gives us some more gravity to work with and it helps it empty a little bit faster. So our problem actually isn't in the hose itself, but our actual valve for our truck is clogged. Got a lovely shit waterfall. So luckily, one of the drivers from another company has volunteered to help us out. We're gonna try and pump out whatever's clogging our valve because it's already been like 20 minutes and it's still not even halfway done. Okay, so after that fiasco, we connected the other driver's truck to our truck and put it in reverse, and it blew out the clog, and now the truck is emptying, no problem. So back to normal scheduled activities, but shout out to that driver. Without him, we would have been screwed. It's always something, I swear. So now it's 4:42 after that is all solved. So now it should be 15 or 20 minutes to get it emptied. All right, it's 5:04, we're finally done. That shows you it's never gonna go as smoothly as you think. I thought we'd be done in 15 minutes, but here we are. So now you can feel the difference. The hose is a lot lighter, it's empty. So we're gonna shut the valve, disconnect it. Be careful because a little bit might still come out. When you disconnect, we should be okay. There's just a little bit. Always keep the tip of the hose pointed up. We're gonna put the dust cap back on. And then before we leave, we just wanna clean up the dump station because we wanna leave it how we found it, right? So we're gonna reconnect the hose to the dump valve right here so the next person can dump. There you go, like that. And then we're just gonna clean up any spills that we had so that the person that uses it after us doesn't have to deal with the mess. We're all good. Wrap everything up and we're good to go. So as you can tell, you're gonna be walking all over literal shit. So you don't wanna be wearing these shoes inside your house, right? Have a spare pair of shoes. Keep them in the garage. All right, so now our tanker is empty. We're gonna head back to the yard. But first, let's wash our hands. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, learning about what happens to porta potty waste after we pump it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe because we got new porta potty content coming out every week. We'll see you guys next time.